Okay, friends, so today we're doing something just a little bit different. So it's not going to be our typical true crime case that we do every week. And that's just because of the nature of this case and where they are in the investigation. Today we're going to be talking about the Gabby Petito case. So if you haven't heard anything about it, we'll go through the case, what we know today, but please understand that this is an ongoing investigation. Things are changing not only daily, but hourly, even down to the minute. So as we are taping this today, trying to stick to what we know now and the facts. We'll go through a few theories and some speculations, but overall this is just trying to get Gabby's story out there so that we can get justice for her.
The information provided by us in this video is for educational purposes. All information in this video is provided in good faith. The views expressed are our own personal opinions, and the details we provide are all alleged, and individuals are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law.
So it's just going to be me today. Erica's actually on vacation, but she is keeping up with this case. She's tracking it closely just like the rest of us, but unfortunately she can't be here to tape. So I'm going to do it for us, but we'll both be on our Instagram page and we'll both be providing regular updates for you guys. So again, this will be on our YouTube, but things are changing so rapidly. So the best place to get the most up-to-date information for us will be on our Instagram page. So I'm sure most of you have heard of her, but for those of you that haven't, today we're going to be talking about the case of Gabby Petito, a 22-year-old girl who is now presumed to be deceased. Again, things are changing very quickly. This is an ongoing investigation. Things are changing not only daily, but hourly. So we're going to give you the facts as we know them right now. We're taping this on September 20th, but know that things might change. So with that being said, let's jump into the case so we can go get justice for Gabby. So Gabrielle Petito, or better known as Gabby, was born on March 19th, 1999 in Blue Point, New York, to Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt. She also has a younger brother named TJ, and they were your typical American family. So Gabby is, if you hear friends or family talk about her, they talk about how sweet she was, how adventurous she was. She loved the outdoors, loved nature. So much so that in high school, she did start traveling around the US and getting to really find that love for the outdoors, nature, the national parks that we have within the US, specifically falling in love with all of the nature that we have out west in this country. So in 2018, Gabby reconnected with an old friend named Brian Landry. This rekindled friendship would over time turn into a relationship. And in March of 2019, the couple officially started dating. So although Gabby was from New York, Brian and his family lived in Florida. So just a little over a year after they had started dating, Gabby actually moved to Florida to be with Brian and his family. Shortly after this move, on July 2nd of 2020, Brian and Gabby actually go to Georgia for a romantic getaway. They go to Deep South Farm in Gilmore County, Georgia. And this is where Brian actually proposes to Gabby. And again, this is on July 2nd of 2020. And Gabby, of course, says yes. You know, the two are very, very excited. They both post on their social media pages about the engagement. And the reason I bring that up is because social media is going to play a big role in the timeline of this case, because both of them were very active on social media and they even started their own YouTube channel. So the day that they got engaged, like I said, Gabby posted on her social media page, so on Instagram, stating, "Here's a picture from our first date because I have so much love for you. Brian asked me to marry him and I said yes. Brian, you make life feel unreal and every day is such a dream with you." And she posted a picture of their very first date where they had sushi on the beach. Again, they got engaged during the middle of the pandemic, and so instead of planning their wedding during coronavirus, the couple decided that they were actually gonna postpone the wedding for a little bit, push it off as the pandemic unfolded, and instead that they would go on a cross-country trek in a van. So they were going to go across the US. Again, they both really, really loved nature. They loved hiking. They loved anything adventurous. So this seemed like the perfect fit for these two. And so they decided to plan a trip that would span over approximately 4 months. And again, primarily focusing on going out west and going and seeing multiple national parks that this beautiful country has to offer. So the plan was to, in July, start out on this trek out west, go see several spots out west, and then they were going to end their journey in Portland, Oregon on Halloween, where they would celebrate the holiday with friends out there. So the two worked really hard at their jobs, they saved some money, and they start planning out this great adventure where they were going to travel in this van and do the quote unquote van life and go across the US for 4 months. So exactly 1 year later after their engagement, so on July 2nd of 2021, the couple set out on this epic adventure that they were going to go on together. At this time, Gabby was 22 years old and Brian was 23 years old. Gabby posted very frequently on her Instagram page, doing a great job of documenting this trip. So not only through posts, through photos, but also through stories. Her Instagram tag is Gabs Petito, so GABS PETITO. And one thing to note here is that when Gabby would post photos on Instagram, she would almost always include a location. So not only could, her followers follow along with where she was and keep along with this journey, but also her family. Her first post after starting this trip was in Monuments Rock, which is actually in Kansas. And she put the caption, "There's no place like the tiny home we built. #van life, #travel, #adventure blogger." I'm not gonna go through all the different places that they stopped just because they did get to see quite a few places. I'll just quickly go through what we saw on her Instagram through her stories and her posts. But again, they were traveling now at this point for about 3 months. So they went to places such as Colorado Springs, the Great Sand Dunes National Park, both of those of which are in Colorado. Then they went on to Utah, where they went to Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, Mystic Hot Springs, the Canyonlands National Park, and Arches National Park. So again, they got to see beautiful, beautiful areas across this country. And on Instagram, it seemed like they were having a great time. All of their posts, both Brian's and Gabby's, they both look very, very happy. They just look like they're having this amazing time. It makes you jealous, envious of what these two are getting to experience together. So again, they posted these pictures all throughout their trip. And the pictures began the beginning of July and they went through mid-August, with Brian's last post being on August 13th and Gabby's last post being on August 25th of 2001. However, it has come into question if the post that was put on Gabby's Instagram on August 25th was actually done by her or not. And the reason behind that is, well, there's a couple of reasons why. People are speculating that it might not be her that posted it. First one is that it didn't tag a location. So it was just pictures of her. So it was 7 different pictures of her, but it didn't include a location whatsoever. And it had a very, very short description, just stating Happy Halloween. Also, this photo is thought to be in front of the Monarch mural in Ogden, Utah, which is not where they were originally supposed to be on August 25th, but it was on their way to their destination, which was Yellowstone. However, now to play devil's advocate, we've all done this before where you take pictures and you don't post them into social media until a few days later. So this could have been what happened by all means. There's just a lot of speculation that Brian was actually the one who made this post, so I did want to bring it up with you guys. Now, from here on out, the timeline is pretty tricky with this case. And that's because Gabby's not here to tell us what happened. Brian's not talking. And as of now, 9/20, Brian's actually missing. And so the only thing that we can really go off of are her Instagram, well, both of their Instagram pages, their social media pages, their YouTube channel, and the recall from her parents, who she kept in close contact with them throughout this entire trip. Now, they didn't necessarily talk every day, but at least every other day or, every few days. And there were times where they would go into areas that Brian and Gabby would go into areas where cell reception wasn't very great, but Gabby was pretty good about telling her parents when that would happen, giving them a heads up so that they wouldn't worry. So according to Joe, Gabby's dad, he last spoke with Gabby on August 21st, and he confirms that they were in Salt Lake City. And he knows this because he actually put in an Uber Eats order for her and Brian, and that's because they couldn't connect to the internet to make the Uber Eats delivery themselves. So Joe went ahead and did it for them. But he states that this is the last time that he talked to Gabby. Now, Nicole, Gabby's mom, she confirmed that after the couple left Salt Lake City, that they were going to the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming on August 24th of 2021. So when Gabby got to the Grand Teton National Park, she actually FaceTimed her mom. Now this is on August 24th of 2021. So Gabby's mom, Nicole, talks to her, sees her, on camera, talks to her daughter, and overall she said that her daughter seemed okay. It seemed like there might be a little bit of tension in the relationship with Brian, and Gabby, but this isn't that abnormal considering that the couple had been on a trip now, or in a very quite close quarters van for 3 months. And so, a little bit of bickering or arguing is kind of, it is to be expected. So she didn't really think too much of it, just thought that, maybe they were having issues getting along. But again, overall said that her daughter seemed fine. So again, on August 24th is the last time that Nicole spoke with her daughter via FaceTime. But Nicole does state that she did receive text messages from Gabby the days following the 24th, with the last text message that she received being on August 30th. However, she does state that she does not know if these actually came from Gabby, that she can't confirm that. And if you've heard or seen some of the things that she said, it seems that towards the later days, especially towards like August 30th, it seemed that she didn't believe that that was her daughter texting her anymore. With all of this, and with the information that we have at this time, again, videotaping this on September 20th, is that the last time that we can actually confirm that Gabby was seen alive was on August 24th when she FaceTimed with her mom, and her mom believed that she was in Grand Teton National Park. So unfortunately, and as saddening as this is, after the text message on August 30th from Gabby's mom never spoke with her again. And it is, whether that was Gabby or not, that was the last form of communication that she received from Gabby's cell phone. So after August 30th, again, she hadn't heard from her daughter for a few days, but there were instances where they would go into areas where cell reception wasn't that great. They didn't necessarily talk every single day, but at least like every few days. And so she wasn't really that concerned. Her parents weren't that concerned at first. But after almost about a week of not being able to get a hold of her, they start to become, really concerned about this. They try contacting her multiple times. They try contacting Brian, and they can't get a hold of any of them. So finally, on the evening of September 11th, Gabby's parents actually file a missing persons report for Gabby. Now, this investigation is quite tricky because it spans over multiple states. Remember, her parents are in New York. Gabby technically lived in Florida with Brian, but they were going across multiple states on this van life trip that they were going on. So this involved multiple police agencies getting together to start this investigation. And luckily, after a little bit of time, the FBI did step in as well. So as I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, this case and this story blew up. So not only was it broadcast all over news channels, it was on everyone's social media, podcasters, YouTubers, everyone was posting about Gabby trying to find her and bring her home safe. Again, no one was 100% sure where she was last seen. So there were searches for her everywhere. Now, the majority of it focused on Grand Teton National Park because that's where her mom had last seen them. But Gabby had actually sent a text message saying that they were on their way to Yellowstone in Wyoming too. So again, it was just a massive search, and everyone across the US was really pulling together to try to get her name and her face out there. Now, as the investigation was, getting underway, new details started to emerge. Again, I've said this multiple times, but this case seriously is changing hourly. As the investigation got underway, new details started to emerge. Details that did not shine great light on her fiance or their relationship. So it's quickly discovered that on August 12th of 2021, police were actually called to a domestic altercation between Gabby and Brian. And it's noted that it wasn't Gabby or Brian that called the police. It was actually a bystander who'd witnessed this altercation that they had and called the police for them, just because they weren't 100% sure if anything was wrong, but they just wanted to be on the safe side. And so police get there and, they question the two apart. So they first, they talk to Brian and then they talk to Gabby. And the police officer states that he didn't believe that this was necessarily a domestic violence altercation, but more so a mental health crisis. And he actually states that both the male and female reported that they are in love and engaged to be married and desperately didn't wish to see anyone charged with a crime. So the police officer didn't file any charges, but he did encourage the couple to spend the night away from each other that night. So They took Brian to a safe haven hotel where he spent the night, and Gabby stayed with the van. Now, both of them did have their cell phones in case of an emergency, but they were encouraged to just stay apart from each other, not to talk to each other, so that they could just cool down their emotions before they got back together and back around each other. And they did. So the couple did agree to this. But I think when this came out, this was the first red flag that made people question, okay, maybe their relationship wasn't as great as what it seemed on their YouTube channel or on Instagram, which, to be fair, whose is, you only want to shine light on the good things in your life when you post on social media. But again, during this investigation, as we were going through, this was a pretty big red flag for people, especially her family too, because this was the first that they had heard about this as well. So then, again, that's the first red flag, but more things just keep coming out. And the next thing that came out was that on September 1st of 2021, Brian actually took the van and drove back to Florida. Their van back to Florida, but without Gabby. So he showed up to his parents' house and Gabby wasn't with him. Now, if this isn't suspicious, I don't know what is. Like, where in the world was Gabby? You guys went on this trek together. It's her van. Where is she? Why is she not coming back with you? And the even more frustrating part is that Brian refused to talk to police or say anything about Gabby, about their trip, or what happened to her. He just flat out said, I'm not talking to anyone about this. And he hired a lawyered up and refused to talk. So if that doesn't irritate, the shit out of you, then I don't know, that's when I think people really started to turn on Brian, when this piece of information came out. The husband or the boyfriend, fiance, they're always the first one, or a significant other, they're always the first one to be suspected in these cases. But when that came out, I think that's when everyone turned and they're like, okay, Brian, where is Gabby? And again, he just refused to talk. So then on September 15th of 2021, Brian was officially named a person of interest. Now, again, the rest of the country, we were already under the assumption that he had something to do with it, but this is the police actually coming out and officially stating that he is a person of interest. So then just one day after this, on September 16th, the Petito and Schmidt family, so Gabby's parents, came out and they pled to the Landry family, so again, Brian's family, asking them to just help them find Gabby. And they said, please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we are even looking in the right place. All we want is for Gabby to come home. Please help us make that happen. We haven't been able to sleep or eat and our lives are falling apart. As frustrating as it is, the Landry family declined to respond to this plea, which honestly just pisses me off. So then on Friday, September 17th, so a day after Gabby's family pled to Brian's family, there's another curveball thrown into this case. And that's that Brian's family reported him missing, stating that they hadn't seen him since Tuesday, September 14th. Where is Brian and why are they waiting so long to report him? So police take this missing persons report, and then on September 18th, they actually dispatched 50 officers into the Carlton Reserve, which is only about 30 minutes from his parents' home in Florida. And the reason that they started here is because his parents stated that Brian had left with his backpack, stating that he was going to go camping in the reserve for a few days. But reports they differ on this, of whether he took a car, whether he walked. It's unclear how he got there. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but that is why they focused on that area, is because that's where his parents said that they thought he was. However, on the evening of September 19th, police actually suspend their search, stating that they suspended it due to darkness and stated that there was nothing to report. And now, since then, we haven't heard anything from the search since that time. Now, during this exact same time, when they're searching for Brian, so over September 18th and September 19th, they're also searching for Gabby across the country. They started their search in Grand Teton National Park, but again, they were kind of all over the place because they didn't really know where she was last seen. So then last night, as the rest of the country watched too, I was sitting outside on my porch watching football, and I got the that came across, again, that human remains had been found, and those remains matched the description of Gabby Petito. So these were found in Teton County, Wyoming, again, on the evening of September 19th. And although forensic testing had not yet come out and confirmed that it's Gabby Petito, her father did post that evening on Twitter with this photo up here with the caption, #Gabby Petito, she touched the world. So again, at this time, the FBI has not fully confirmed that this is Gabby, but we're all led to believe that this is, and that the family knows that this is her. So this was very heartbreaking news to come across yesterday for, you know, her family. It's just so heartbreaking, and the story touches so many people, and you can resonate with it, and you feel passionate about it. And we really wanted to see her come home and this be just a misunderstanding, but unfortunately, it's pretty much confirmed that her body has been found now. So then, as of this morning, so September 20th, police actually descended on the Landry family home, and they executed a search warrant of the home. So both of Brian's parents were actually escorted from their property before the search began, and they were questioned during this time as well. So the police enter the home, and not shortly after, they declare the home a crime scene. So again, this is unfolding as I'm taping this right now. So more details are continuing to come out, and we will keep you updated as best as we can. Again, it will be a little bit harder through YouTube to do that. So please, you know, for the up-to-date information, check out our Instagram. So this is what we know. As of yesterday, September 19th, it's presumed that Gabby's remains were found in Wyoming. September 1st, Brian left out west, took the van, and went to Florida to see his parents without Gabby, and has since then refused to talk to the police or provide any information in helping find Gabby or understanding what happened to her. Brian is now still missing at the time of this taping, and we have no idea where he is. So people will speculate that he's on the run, and I do believe a lot of people think that, as well as maybe some of the police officers involved in the search for him. But as of right now, he is a missing person because he is not under arrest. He's just a person of interest. There is not a warrant out for his arrest. So if the police were to find him at this time, they would just take him back to his parents' house. You know, as far as what happened to Gabby, there hasn't been any details released around her death or what could have caused it. So, you know, we're all still waiting for those details to come out. You know, that can take time. Again, we will provide you with as much information as we know, but as of right now, Brian does seem to be the clear suspect in the case. Until we get more details, until we find him, until we, you know, get to hear his side of the story, we just don't know what happened. We don't know what happened to turn this couple that was having this amazing trip and documenting it, and it just looks so perfect and just completely dreamy. I know that's a crazy word to say, but like just like out of this world, amazing, to end up with one of them dead and one of them missing. There's just a lot of gaps in the story. There's a lot of things we don't know. And I know we're all eager, you know, our hearts just go out to Gabby's family. This just has to be just completely heartbreaking. A 22-year-old's life taken way too soon. Again, we don't know exactly what happened or what the manner of death was. But as of right now, all signs, there's a lot of red flags, and it seems very suspicious. So we'll keep you up to date. Again, just please keep the Petito family in your thoughts and prayers, and you know, lift them up, because this has just got to be unimaginable. You know, our hearts go out, and it's just a really, really sad case, and we were hoping that it wouldn't end this way. Again, we'll keep you updated on what transpires since then, but as of right now, this is what we know. Thanks, friends. We're not going to do our normal sign off. You know, everyone stay safe out there. Keep the story in the spotlight though, so we can get justice for Gabby, because she deserves it. Her parents need to know what happened. So please just, again, keep this in the spotlight. Keep sharing all the stories. Keep her face in the media. With that being said, guys, stay safe and have a good one.